Alright, so in this video I wanted to go over basically like and expand on the basics of what I talked about last time, such as the scanning and all the just different types and stuff like that. Mostly the scanning. I wanted to build I built two things. I built a calculator and also something that scans through a document and tells you how much how many words there unique words there were, and how many of those words or what those words were. But let's I'm gonna start off with the first one. So like I had in the previous, I imported some libraries that I could use, and I'll get to these two later, or the exception later. I needed that later on, but for the first one, I'm using the scanner again, and also this file, input-output file, and this will allow me to bring in a file from my computer into my program. So just starting off though, so I have my main again, and then I made a scanner called MP. It's like short for input. And like last time, you make a new scanner of the input into the system. And I made two variables. I made two ints. One is the first number, and the second is going to be the second number that we're going to input into it. So pretty self-explanatory names. But so I just started off with an out statement. I just printed out, enter the first number you want to put, and then I'm going to make that equal to the first number here that I defined. Yeah, the first number, by doing first num equals the input and then the next int. And the reason you do the next int is because people can type in whatever and then put a 1 or 2 or whatever, so this catches the input, what I want, or the integer, which is what I want in this. So next I do the same thing but for the second number, and then I do another scanner which is going to take in input as well, and it's going to check this time the operation. So I set a string called LPR, short for operation, equals the next part coming out of the scanner. This scanner here, not the first one, because this one is going to be string, and in this one it was an integer. So I start off with if, and then the operation I get is equal to a plus. Oh yeah, I wanted to bring this up, which I wrote a comment about, but that's the reason why I brought up in the first video how for like single characters and stuff you would want to just use char, just because of, I guess that's what it's meant for. But I have to use string here because the input I'm getting is going to be a string out of this scanner here, so I'm using string here as well. So then I just do, oh yeah, so if it's equal to a plus, system.out print line, and I'm doing my math inside of the print. Like, you don't have to do it beforehand. Like, you could, if you wanted to, do something like this, where you do, like, say, int answer equals, and then you just do, like, first number first num plus second, and then you could type in just print answer here, but it just saves time if you because you could just condense it into the one line. There's no point to add on, really. Okay, so yeah, that's pretty much it for that, though. It's like a very simple way, like, to get this function down. You can expand on it a lot. You can do multiplication and subtraction and everything like that. If you would go into division, I would have done doubles as my type here, because you can get fractions, and they aren't always a whole number, and that's like what I was talking about before, is when you start getting fractions, you want to use doubles instead. But right now I'm only doing addition, so it would be fine if it was just int. So I'll show you the output. So you enter the first number, I'll just say 3, 4, and then plus. Okay, my computer kind of froze out a little bit, so that's why I had to pause it. But yeah, as you can see here, when you press 3 for the first, 4, and then you do plus here, and it will just output the 7. I'll do it again because my computer kind of froze. I don't know why that was. But yeah, you just do, say, 5, 6, plus, and you get 11. So that's just a quick way to show how much, like, even the basics, like, that was a very basic program, but you could get a lot out of it. Like, you could make an entire calculator if you wanted to, really. So that's just an example. Like, you don't have to get all that fancy. It's not too hard to build something like that. I guess that's kind of just the point I'm getting at. So the next part I want to show you. Would be the word counter. So here's another one where it's like pretty simple, but you can make something kind of cool out of it. So this is new that I didn't bring up in the last video, but it's called an exception, or an input-output exception, and that's why I imported this here. And it basically just checks, like, it tries something, which would be the file. The reason you have this is because I have here something that's, you take a file and you make it equal to the input file, this is just a made-up name here, though. You make it equal to a new file, and that file is going to be this here, which I made. It's and it has to be either in the same, like, folder directory, or you have to have the full file name, like desktop/inputs.txt or whatever, wherever it's coming from. But it's in the same directory, so it's just named this for me right now. But basically, the try is here for if you don't, or if it can't find this, it's going to come down and it's going to skip all this and just hit this catch here. And when this happens, it's just going to stop and be like, you can't do that. And it's just going to, I just put system.println not valid. And that's just, you can put whatever you want here, but that's just basically a message that it didn't go through the input. So make another scanner, just like I did in the first one. So basically the same thing. This time it's going to be strings again. But here is something new that I also didn't show, and this is a map. And it's sort of like the list that I had last time, but this time it stores two values in like one, and it can store different values. So it would be like each string is paired. It's set up by keys and values. So the key is like here, and then you got the value here, and they'll each be set up like that. So you can get a key, like say the key would be, well in this I'm counting words, so we'll say that the word is hello. And each time that it sees hello, it's going to find the key, which is hello, and it's going to add 1 to the value. So if it sees it 4 times, the value will be 4. So if I call hello, like if I call count at 4 like that, it would give me the value. Or no, not at 4. At hello, it'll give me the value 4. That's not really code. I was just typing it up to make it clearer. But while I have a while loop here, and I want it to scan for as long as there's a value up next, because if you don't have this, it's gonna keep scanning forever, and it will go out of bounds, and it will just keep running. So this way, it's gonna keep going until it sees that there's nothing left in to scan from, and it'll stop. So while it's doing that, it's going to make this string called the current word that I have equal to scan.next. So it'll be like, I can show you the file that I have is this, and I just have written here hello word my name hello my. So I wrote hello twice, I wrote word once, my twice, name once, and they're all scrambled. I just did random words, so it's not supposed to be anything, but it's just an example. So it's going to go through and it'll say, like, so next would first be hello. So while there's something next, which there is, and that's hello, it's going to get next and make that equal to current word. And then it'll do it again. It's going to see that there's something next, and it's going to take that, which is word, and make that equal to current word. And so on and so forth until it's at my, and then it looks up here, and there's nothing there, and then it stops. Okay, so then after it does that, it puts the words into the map and adds the value for it. So here it's really just checking if it doesn't exist, or if the map, which is count, and this means does not, the exclamation mark. So if it doesn't contain key, which contains key is a given function which you can call, it's inside of util. So, or it's inside the map, sorry. So yeah, so if it contains the key, so like I had up there before, it's going to have a key and a value. So if it has that key phrase, or if it doesn't have that, it's going to put current word as a key. And that would be, and it would give it the value 1, because it's been only found one time. If it wasn't, or if it was in there, it's just going to put at current word, which is at the word it's at, what it was plus 1. So say it found hello, hello. It'll go through. It wasn't in the list before, or in the map before. So then it's going to put it in there and give it a value of 1. And then if it finds it again, it would just do, it's going to skip this first part because that's not true. And it's going to go to else, and then it's going to count it, or it's going to put into the map it's just basically updating its value. So after that, so I have a couple comments here that I just wanted to talk about. You can basically, like, it's basically here, it's just going through. I have a function that's, or a loop, sorry, that's just going through, and for each word basically in the key, it's going to print out that word and its number, and also that, oh, what is it? Oh, and the total number of unique words, which is count size, because the map only has unique keys. It doesn't duplicate keys, and that's how it's able to tell how many times it's been put in and update the value for it. So it's gonna, the size of it is gonna actually be the amount of words in there. But yeah, so you're doing it for the current word, and the this is, so the map, and then key set. And key set is basically just the amount of keys in the map. So it's just going through this for the amount of keys, and if it gets, you know, and it's just eventually going to go through all of the different keys and output what their values are, and it's like a set thing. So yeah, and then I have the catch that I explained earlier, but that's pretty much it for that. And this for loop should output, like I said, the key and the value, and also the total amount of keys in the map. So I'll show you that quick. Okay. Alright, yeah, so, and like I said, there was hello twice, my twice, name once, and word once. But you can see that it did this for each word. It was printing out the total number of things in there. But it's the name of it, plus its value, plus how many unique keys there were, or how many keys there were in general, and then again and again for each one until it hits the end. But that's something about maps, is that they never have repeated keys. So that's how you can keep these organized. And like, if you were going for something like this, I would definitely recommend using a map because of this. It works really well to organize multiple things that repeat over and over. But yeah, I think that's about it. I kind of just wanted to show these few programs because they weren't very hard. Like, they're very simple, like syntax wise. Like, I mean, for the first one, it's just, it was, you know, I only used system.outs, the scanner, which I showed in the first video, and, you know, ints, and I just stored the values in there. I mean, and that's pretty much it. And that you can make a calculator just from that, and you could use it for other things too. It's not just math. You could do other, you know, strings, and you can make like the operation equal to anything. Like, you could say, oh, if the operation was equal to fruit, you know, then add, you know, and like the different inputs could be different fruits, you know what I mean? And if they weren't, they could, you know, you could do a lot of different things with it. It's not just, you know, addition, subtraction. But yeah, and then for this one, it was just scanner again, and this time we used the map, which is a little more complicated, but as you can see, you could just it's very easy to just put it together. You just add for the amount of time the map, or the amount of keys there are, and you just put the words in, and if it's already in there, you just add a value to the word, and that's pretty much it. So yeah, that's all.